The best new watches of 2024 under $1,000. I'm going to make a few clarifications on that $1,000 price point. First, I want to say that these are watches that cost $1,000, whether they are brand new or on the secondary market. If you're able to buy them brand new, these are going to be under $1,000 from the manufacturer. Otherwise, they are brand new watches that you can buy on the secondary market that cost under $1,000. So if a watch costs $1,200 at retail, if it's on this list, you're able to get it under $1,000 on the secondary market. Second clarification, all the watches on this list are from major brands. So none of these are actually micro brands or independent brands. These are only major brands. I'll do a separate video for some of the best watches and watch releases from micro brands and independent brands in a different video. Getting right into it, the first watch on this list is a MEO. It is the MEO Ocean Star 39. This is a new release that comes in at around $1,100 at retail. You could definitely get these watches for less than that on the secondary market as they are now becoming available. There is a very beautiful gradient dial. It's actually a very heavy gradient dial on these, a very heavy wave pattern texture on the dial as well. Coming in at, of course, 39 millimeters. These are very wearable, making these very popular for an affordable dive watch option if you want something that is Swiss. Now, MEO make a bunch of different watches I really like. The Tribute is probably my favorite from the brand. However, they make a few modern versions like this 39 that I think fit the bill. They also make titanium versions. They range in size and depth rating. So usually you're gonna find a Paramatic 80 inside. All of these specs and all of these details make these very, very good options. Obviously, I'm just picking the 39 as my choice because it's a new watch. However, they make tons of really good watches. Some negatives about MEO, I've usually found that their bezel action isn't all that great, and even at this price point and it being a Swatch Group product, they still don't offer on-the-fly micro adjust. The next watch on this list probably will come to no surprise to people here on my YouTube channel who are watching my YouTube channel and following me on Instagram. It is the Citizen Zenin. These are very, very popular integrated bracelet watches with super titanium cases that get a extra hard coating. So super titanium is grade 2 titanium with an extra hard coating. These get textured dials. There's a time only that's an eco drive. Then there is a chronograph. And then, of course, the automatic, which gets a small seconds. All of them get dates or days. However, my favorite definitely is the chronograph. It looks way more expensive than it actually is. The texture dials on these sort of remind me of a snowflake effect. I think they work really, really well. 100 meters of water resistance on all three different versions. Doesn't matter which one you're getting. You're getting excellent finishing, especially considering the price. And of course, you're getting sapphire crystals. Definitely beating the competition with value, considering all of the specs that you're getting versus the price. And all of these are starting around $450, $500, going up to around $650, somewhere in that range. And they're already being discounted on the Citizen website. I'll put links to these watches down in the description below that I'm talking about throughout the video. Only negative on this watch, or the only negative that I've found throughout the collection of Zenin, is that they still are offering pressed clasps on certain ones. That's the only negative I would say. Other than that, I think there's a lot of positives to these watches. If you could see past that clasp, that's the only negative. The next watch on this list might have not been released in 2024. However, it still remains on this list because they've actually released new versions of this watch this year. It is the Christopher Ward 12, one of the best integrated bracelet watches that you can get for under $1,000. And yes, you can get the Christopher Ward 12 for under $1,000, not on a bracelet, in stainless steel. And of course, you're getting all of the quality from Christopher Ward, all the looks that you get from the 12, all that design goodness from Christopher Ward under $1,000. The one that I'm specifically talking about is the glacial blue dial. It gets a very deeply patterned dial. It's the Christopher Ward cross repeated throughout the dial. I love these watches, and the glacial blue looks a lot more expensive than it actually is. Obviously reminds you a lot of a very specific integrated bracelet watch that costs tens of thousands of dollars. It wasn't a mistake. That's kind of intentional on Christopher Ward's part. These are excellent integrated bracelet watches, even better on the bracelet. You can definitely get these on the used market, maybe in that $1,000 range, but you can buy these specifically brand new from Christopher Ward for $995 or $99, somewhere in that range. But they are under $1,000 from Christopher Ward, and that's on their strap. The straps are great on these as well. Very nice taper, just all around excellent watch. I think the only negative that I would say for the Christopher Ward 12 is that they are slightly more expensive than some of the competition, although you are getting better finishing than the competition with the Christopher Ward, and in my opinion, better looks. So that might not be really a negative. Maybe the only negative is the fact that you're not able to get it on a bracelet under $1,000. That really would be the only negative about this watch. Before we move on, I want to give one honorable mention. That is another Citizen. That's the Seiko. I absolutely love the Seiko, specifically the texture dial with the small seconds. So the Seiko small seconds, that actually would be on this list if they didn't release the super titanium Zenin this year, which I think obviously is slightly better value and a slightly better watch because of that super titanium, or at least in my opinion. I really love the stainless steel version of the Seiko small seconds. It looks way more expensive than it actually is. It costs well under $1,000. You're getting a lot of the same specs as the automatic version of the Zenin in this Seiko. However, obviously in stainless steel, just a good looking watch. One of my favorite releases as well of 2024. The next watch on this list is probably one of my favorite affordable dive watches that you could buy at under $1,000 all day long. It's a very newly released version of this watch. It is the Tissot Sear 1000 Powermatic 80 in 40 millimeters. So this only came out maybe 2 months ago, and they are now currently available. My favorite version is the gradient black dial. This looks great on this watch. They also make it in a blue dial. They make a black case also that looks really good. So these are the initial versions that they've come out with. So of course this is coming in at 40 millimeters, which is a new size for the Seastar 1000 in automatic. Of course it is powered by the Powermatic 80. You're getting that textured dial, 200 meters of water resistance. You're getting a really good looking watch. I think these are very, very good looking, especially for the price point. There are a few negatives to this watch. One, of course, is the bracelet. The bracelet is polished and brushed. You get these polished links down the middle. It kind of looks cheap. You get a pretty cheap clasp on this watch considering what you can get from micro brands. Of course, you're not getting on the fly micro adjust at all. And then these are getting a mineral bezel. So sapphire crystals, but you're getting a mineral bezel insert. I do want to give a shout out to the Tissot PRX at this point. Of course, not new for 2024, but you can get these watches for under $1,000. They did recently come out with a forged carbon fiber version. They also did come out with gradient dials. Those are under $1,000. That forged carbon fiber is over $1,000. However, very, very cool. I cannot wait to see those in person. Those are brand new and they look phenomenal. A lot of people comparing them to, of course, Zenith, which already happened with the automatic versions and textured dials. This forged carbon fiber version sort of put it over the top. Lots of comparisons happening to Zenith, which of course is a very good thing. Next is a watch that hasn't really even been released yet. However, we are very familiar with the watch because there's a limited edition that has already come out and sold out. It is the James brand collaboration with Timex, their latest collaboration on a GMT. It was in grade 5 titanium, sapphire crystal, automatic movement powered by the MEO 9075. Lots to love about this watch. However, the only thing is it was a limited edition in collaboration with James brand, which has sold out. However, Timex have announced they are coming out with their own version. They're putting a little bit of an explorer twist on this watch. It is an Expedition North, so you're getting a yellow GMT hand. You're getting a steel bezel on this. So it's going to look a little bit different from the James brand version. I'm not sure if it's coming on the bracelet and the strap. These will be under $1,000 either way. So a very good looking watch with the sapphire crystal grade 5 titanium case at around $1,000 or under $1,000. It's a really good offering and a really good value proposition at that price point for Timex and really for any brand, this is a great watch. Next watch on this list is a BOLO, one of my favorite brands, and this is an excellent release that they came out with in 2024. It is powered by a precisionist movement, which a lot of people really love. It's a time only. Of course, I believe this had a date. It's a dive watch. It is their Marine Star Series C. I featured the yellow dial version on my channel. The one that I would actually choose is the cream colored dial. It's a white dial with a black bezel on the bracelet. That was definitely my favorite out of the trio. I think there was only 3 watches that they came out with. I would choose that one. 200 meters of water resistance. You get a sapphire crystal, a ceramic bezel, a really cool ceramic bezel. 43 millimeters, I think these watches came in. I would say that's probably the only negative. There are a lot of positives about this watch. It gets that precisionist movement, as I mentioned. Yes, that is a quartz. However, it is extremely accurate. It's accurate to plus or minus 10 seconds per year. That is very, very accurate. Obviously, it is a quartz movement, so that is somewhat expected, but 10 seconds per year is very, very good. And then, of course, you're getting that remarkable 262 kilohertz. That means you are getting a very smooth second hand on this watch. It's smoother than what you would get from a high beat movement from a brand like Grand Seiko, except for maybe spring drive movements. Obviously, those are a little bit smoother, but other than that, there aren't many watches out there that can actually beat the precisionist. This is a great movement, and like I said, the only negative that I could think of is the fact that these are in 43 millimeters. Eventually, if they come out with a smaller version, this would work for smaller wrists as well. These are around $650 currently on their website for this version with the white dial on a bracelet. That's an excellent price for an excellent watch. Next on this list is a watch that I actually own. It's the Seiko 5 Sports GMT Field Watch that I purchased earlier in the year. This was the black dial variant that I purchased. I actually wanted the white dial version, but they ended up sending me the black dial version when I ordered it through eBay. It was pictured as a white dial. They just ended up sending me a black dial and hoped I didn't care. However, I would choose the white dial version because it is a Japanese domestic only version and it's a limited edition. I think the white dial is the one to go with. It's the best looking out of the duo right now that they currently have available. Or there might be a third version, but that's a black case with a black dial, so technically a black dial. These are affordable. They're GMTs, and of course they are Seikos. Very good looking, straightforward GMTs that are field watches, good looking dials, really nicely sized cases and bracelets. I think they come in at around 39 millimeters, which wears really well on my wrist. They have a great multi-link bracelet that looks great. Of course, there are drawbacks to Seiko bracelets, specifically at this price point, but you can get these in the $300 range right now. If you don't mind the black dial, you can get them for definitely $300. They're a little bit more if you want the white dial because those are a little bit harder to get here, at least in the United States. Negatives here, obviously I'm going to bring up the Hardlex crystal here. That's still a hard sell for a lot of people, no pun intended. So you're not getting a sapphire crystal where you should get a sapphire crystal at this price point from Seiko. Unfortunately, they still do not offer sapphire at this price, so I still think they need to get on the ball. Next is a watch that I did not expect to include on this list. However, it is a Hamilton. It's their new khaki field in quartz. These are very affordable. They are quartz versions of the very, very popular khaki field. These actually say khaki on the dial. It's a little bit of a callback to their 90s versions of the khaki field. You'll see the khaki down at the 6 o'clock. I actually really like the look of these watches. My favorite is the blue dial. These come on their NATO straps. I'm not a huge fan of those NATO straps, so I would say that is a negative. And I think the other negative here is, of course, that it's a quartz. I think some people will complain about that. And at some point in my life, I've become okay with quartz watches, so that's why I've included it here on this list. These are affordable, and they come in 2 different sizes. You can get these in 38 millimeters or 33 millimeters, so obviously aimed at men or women, so you could definitely get a size that actually fits you. And then these come in at $395. Right now, these are brand new. When these hit the secondary market, in the gray market and places like that, these will be around $200 because they don't really sell all that well. They make tons of these watches, so they're usually flooded in the market. You can get these for pretty cheap. When I say flood the market, I'm referring to the mechanical versions. I imagine they'll do the exact same thing with these quartz versions. Very good looking watches for a very good price, especially when you're considering there are people out there buying moon swatches for around $270. This is a really good option for a real icon for around $200 when they're on that secondary market. And even at $300 and change, I think this is a really good option comparing it to something like the moon swatch. The next watch on this list starts at around $800. It's the Victorinox Dive Pro. This is a very good looking, very rugged looking tool watch from Victorinox. They start at around $800. They end up at around $1,500 for an automatic version in titanium. But there's a lot of watches in between. There's tons of options for these watches, and I think they are very good looking. My favorite is the stainless steel in automatic with a DLC, or actually a PVD coated case, and you get that black and yellow dial. It gets a black dial with yellow accents. There's a little bit of yellow accents on the bezel. Very, very good looking watch. Super grippy bezels on these, very rugged looking designs, very heavy. They're tested by Victorinox for durability and continued performance. They really put all of their watches through the ringer. They did this with the Inox when that came out as well. Really well made, unapologetic tool watches. I really love these watches. The only negative that I would say about these Victorinox Dive Pros is that they're pretty expensive. The automatic versions can get up to around $1,500 if you want them in titanium. They're under $1,000 on the secondary market pretty quick. However, they are on the more expensive side, so that is something definitely to consider. And also, these do come in at 43 millimeters. They are large tool watches, and that is kind of the point, but they are coming in at 43 millimeters. They don't make them in the smaller size, which is unfortunate. Hopefully in the future they will, so that people with smaller wrists can wear them. For me, these work really well because I have a 7.5 inch wrist, but for someone with a smaller wrist than mine, like I said, big, bulky, heavy tool watch, you have to really like that. Otherwise, you're not going to find it comfortable. But again, you can get these for $800 starting with the quartz version from brand new, or if you wait on the secondary market, you'll definitely be able to get the automatic versions for under $1,000. Last but not least, I have a Casio on this list. I usually don't feature Casios on a lot of my videos, but this watch I really loved when they came out with it. I tried to buy one, it immediately sold out. It's the Casiotron. My favorite is the TRN N50SS2A. It gets a gold and light blue dial. Of course, these are an updated reissue of the original Casiotron, which was released in 1974. The Casiotron was the world's first digital watch with an automatic calendar and automatically adjusted for longer and shorter months. These sold out very quickly, like I said. However, there are a few websites that have these available currently in stock. Currently, the one that I'm talking about, the TRN 50SS2A, the one with that gold and light blue dial. It's actually my favorite out of the two that were released. The only negative I would say for these watches is that they are pretty expensive for what they are. These come in at around $550 retail. They are actually selling for more than that in some cases on places like eBay. However, you could still buy these in certain retailers. If you just Google the model number, you'll be able to buy these for the retail price, and that's the only way that I would ever suggest buying them. So $550, obviously well under $1,000 for what is an icon and a very good looking watch that is, digital. So you have to like that. But other than that, really fun, really good looking watches. Tell me what you guys think about this list of watches that I came up with. Again, the rules were pretty simple. $1,000, they have to be new watches recently released. So these were pretty much all released within 2024. And of course, they are all from major brands. I'll do a separate video where I'm talking about micro brand releases. I'll come up with a different price point and some different rules for that video. But this is a really good comprehensive list of around 10 watches There are definitely other watches out there. Please tell me down in the comments below some of the watches that you would have added to this list that I missed. I know there are definitely some out there for $1,000 or under that you can get from a major brand that was released in maybe the calendar year 2024. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. Anyway, guys, that's really it. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It's super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. Thank you for checking out this video. I very much appreciate it, and I will catch you guys in the next video.